Okay, folks, I'm going to show you how to do these length and pitch questions. Now, the first thing, when you're writing these, you're always going to put the length of the line first, and then you're going to measure the distance between centers second. So for number one, and that's how you write them. So number one, you're going to put your ruler on your paper, and we're measuring in inches, and I can see that my distance is 1 inch, so I'm gonna write 1 inch lines. We're just, we would be talking about welds, but I'm just gonna do lines because they're just lines on paper. 1 inch lines. And then the second thing that I put is how far apart the centers are. So I got the center of one line, the center of two lines, center of each line. And I can see I lined up my ruler on the centers. The centers are 2 inches apart. So 1 inch lines. And how do I want to say the 1 inch lines spaced 2 inches on center. Okay, 1 inch lines, 2 inches on center. Measure your line, or write your lines first, 1 inch lines, then measure the distance between each center of the line. Okay, for number two, I'm going to line up my ruler here, and you can see I have 2 inch lines. So and then they're spaced. So I'm going to move my ruler and measure the distance between centers. So 2 inch lines spaced 3 inches on center. Okay, so I'm going to flip my paper over, and I'm going to do some of the opposite. Okay, so when you're doing the opposite, when you're given, so draw 1 inch lines spaced 2 inches on center. When you're drawing the lines, you want to draw the centers first. Okay. So I'm going 1 inch lines space 2 inch on center. So I'm going to put my ruler down, and I'm going to draw my centers. So 2 inches on center. So my ruler's here. So I'm going to put a little tick mark at 0, then at 2, then at 4, and I'm just counting by twos, then at 6, then at 8. Those are my centers because it says spaced 2 inches on center. So I marked out my center points. Now I'm going to mark my lines. So they're 1 inch lines. So I think the easiest way to do this one is, or for me, what I'm going to do, I put my center marks on the 1/2 inch line. So I have like my center point like at here between the halfway between the 1 and the 2. So I'm just going to draw a 1 inch line, or 1/2 inch on each side of the center. And then here's my next mark. So I'm going to draw a 1-inch line there, and then a 1-inch line there, and then a 1-inch line there, and then a 1-inch line at my last center. So it should look like that. So when you're drawing them, you mark your centers first, then you draw your lines. Okay. Number 7 says, draw 2-inch lines spaced 3 inches on center. So I'm going to put my ruler down, and I'm going to put a tick mark at 0, a tick mark at 3, because it's 3 inches on center, 3, then 6, and then 9. So my centers are 3 inches apart, and I have 2-inch lines. So I'm going to put my ruler so I line up the centers on the inch line. So I have 1 inch on each side for a 2-inch line. So 2-inch line, 2-inch line, and then I run out of space on the last one, but I almost get it. 2-inch line. So I did my centers first, 3 inches on center, and then my lines are 1 inch on each side of the center. Okay, that's it.